Hello besties, beautiful people. My name is Taiwo and you're welcome back to my channel. Today, easy sewing with Tyke. So today we'll be learning how to make a straight palazzo high waist trouser. Thank you to all my returning subscribers for always coming back to watch and engage my videos. I appreciate you all. I can't thank you enough. And if today's your first time of joining us, it's good to have you here. You're welcome. Please hit the subscription button and put on the notification bell. So let's get started.
Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to fold your fabric into two this way. We are cutting the front part of the trouser first. And to know how many inches you are going to fold your fabric by, just divide your thigh measurement into two and add 0.5 inch. The thigh measurement that we are working with today is 27. 27 divided by 2 is 13.5. 13.5 plus 5 is 14, and I have 14 here. So now it's time to put in my vertical measurement. So I'll be starting my measurement from here. Here is my start point. I won't start from this top of the fabric. I'll be starting after this selvage area here. So the first vertical measurement you want to put down is the waist to the hip. Waist to hip, waist to hip. And the waist to hip that we're working with today is 8.5. It's 8.5. I'll go ahead and put that here. So if yours will not be so because it's an high waist trouser, I'll be adding a band of 2 inches to this. So that is fine for me. But if you are making a low waist trouser that is not an high waist and you don't want to make it an high waist, but you want to add a band, all you have to do is determine factor how many inches wide you want your band to be. If it will be 1 inch, 1.5 or 2. Assuming it will be 2 inches, just start your measurement from 2 this way and put in the hip measurement. If that was the type I was to make, here would be my waist to hip. I hope you understand. But because I'm making an high waist, I'll be putting all my vertical measurement the way it's supposed to be. Then I'll go ahead and add 2 inches band to this.
So the next vertical measurement to put now is the crotch depth. So there are two ways to get this. You either take your measurement or you make a simple calculation. So a pictorial illustration will show on the screen right now showing you how to take the measurement. So when I took my own measurement, I got 10.5. And also doing the simple calculation using the formula, dividing the hip by 4. The hip that we're working with today is 42. 42 divided by 4 is 10.5. So this time around, the answer is the same. But there are some times that there might be a variation in the two answers you will get, either half inches more or half inches less. It's actually fine. Any of the method that you use to arrive at your crotch depth is fine, but of course taking the measurement is usually the best method. So the crotch depth that we're working with today is 10.5.
And I will just rule all of that across this way.
So the next vertical measurement you'll be taking now is just the full length, since this is a palazzo trouser. If it was a fitted trouser, then we will need the knee circumference and all of that. So I'll go ahead and input the full length measurement that I'm working with. You'll see the lower part later, but let's finish with this upper part first.
Next thing now to do is to put in the horizontal measurement. And the first horizontal measurement you want to put in this time around is the hip measurement, not the waist. The hip measurement first. The hip measurement. So from here, the hip measurement that I'm working with, I told you, is 42. 42 divided by 4 is 10.5. I'll be adding half inch to it. That is 11. 11. I'll go ahead and measure that all the way from this crotch line all the way to the hip. All the way to the waistline, rather. And I will rule a straight line like so. Now this is the hip measurement, this is the hip measurement, this is the hip measurement. The next vertical measurement you want to put now is the thigh measurement. And like I said earlier, the thigh is 27. 27 divided by 2 is 13.5. 13.5 plus half, that's 14. You go ahead and measure that and rule that. I have 14 here. I have 14 here. Now the waist measurement. The waist measurement that we are working with is 33. That's 8.2, yeah. 33, I'll go ahead and put there, plus half inch, then I have like 8.75. That's 8.25 plus half inch, I have 8.75. I'll go ahead and measure that here. So if you'll be adding a dart to your pants, to your trouser, go ahead and add 1 inch for the dart allowance. But if you will not be adding dart to it, then you can just go ahead and connect it this way. To the hip line, please, to the hip line, not to the crotch depth. Just go ahead and connect it like that. You can use free hand or you can use your hip cuff. Like so. Now the next thing to do is to come down by half inch from here, from the center of the trouser. Notice the center and this is the side, and connect it to the sides this way. Connect it to the sides this way. The next thing to do now is to draw out the shape of the flap. So to do that, to have an accurate and easy flap, just go out by 1 inch. Yeah, vertically and horizontally, both vertically and horizontally, just mark 1 inch and connect it and connect it like so, and the upper part of the trouser is ready. I said the full length measurement I'm working with is 40. I've marked it here, and 2 inches allowance. I've marked it there. So I'll go ahead and just hold a straight line like this. So depending on how wide you want the legs to be, you can leave it this way. But if you want it a little bit tapered, you just go ahead, depending on how tapered you want it to be. But you just go ahead and take out 1.5 inch at the center. That is at the side that makes up the flap area. Then 1 inch at the side, and connect it. Just make sure that whatever you are taking out is 5 inches more on this side, on the center compared to the side. Now we are done. It's time to cut. The front part is ready. It's time to use this to cut out the back. I'll go ahead and place my back piece on it this way. Make sure that it aligns at the side. Remember, here is the center. And another thing is that it's not only that the back is usually wider than the front piece, it is usually longer also than the front piece because of the bum. To accommodate the bum area, it is usually wider, so what you want to do is at the center, here is the center, this flap line, this curve line is the center. You go up by 1.5 or 2 inches. 1.5 or 2 inches. I'll go up by 1.8 inches at the center only. Let me move this. At the center only, then slant it to the sides. So that when you are joining, there won't be an issue. When you are joining the trouser, the sides will match up. So you want to slant it that way. This is very important to accommodate the bum. So you don't cut it on the straight line. Go up by 1.5 or 2 inches. Once you are done with that, now on this flap line or the crotch line, you want to put out your crotch extension. So I even have 2.2 here. And that is fine.
So after marking the crotch extension, the next thing to do is to add the allowance to the flap area that way. So the standard allowance I do add is 2 inches. That 2 inches will accommodate both the sewing allowance and the ease allowance. So I'll go ahead and add 2 inches that way. And I will also add 2 inches to the remaining parts of the center that way. That is from the crotch depth all the way to the hem. At the center only. The sides is the same thing. The side for both the front and the back is the same thing.
All the alterations for the back is only taking place at the center. So now that I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and cut it out. And the final thing to cut will be the pocket and the band. The front piece and the back piece is ready.
So the band is 5 inches in height, and the length of the band is the waist measurement plus allowance. So I'll be cutting both the back band and the front band separately. I actually prefer to do mine that way. I'll be cutting them separately, and you'll get to know how I'll be joining them when we start sewing. So now the measurement for the pocket is 13 by 13. So I'll go ahead and cut 2 of that, and it's time to go over to the sewing machine. So here's the front. I've gone ahead to fix the zipper. I've joined it at the flap. I've added my pocket. So I have a separate video where I explain in detail how I went about this. So if you're interested, the link will be in the description box. Now to the back piece. So the first thing I'll be doing on the back piece is to take in my dart. So I'll be measuring 5 inch from the center that way. Then I'll be measuring 5 inch horizontally also. Then I will sew it by 1/2 inch, just as I will be doing now on the 2 back piece. So the next thing to do now is to join the back piece to the front piece at the side. Join it at the side. So I will not be joining the back piece at the flap area just yet. As you can see, I'm joining the back piece individually to the side of the front piece. So that is what I will be doing next. So when you are doing this, make sure you do not sew over your pockets. Make sure you tilt your pockets and you do not sew over it. You want to take note of that. So the next thing to do now is to join the back flap, to join the back at the crotch area. But before doing that, so I will measure the waist area. I will measure it all round and see what I have. So in this case, I have 36.5, and the waist that I'm working with is 34. So I know that I have 2.5 extra. So that 2.5 extra, I'll divide it into 2. That is 1 1/4. So I know that I'm sewing it in the back flap area by 1¼ That's the reason for this. So I know it is firm at the waist area. So as you move towards the middle of the flap area, that way you want to make your sewing allowance now 1/2 inch, just like the way I'm doing, not the same allowance that we started with. So you want to make it 1/2 inch as you move close towards the end of the flap this way. Now the next thing to do is to sew it all the way at the inseam, making sure that the crotch area of both the front and the back, it match up that way. Make sure that they align together and just sew it at the inseam all the way, just as I will be doing here. So ensure that you backstitch the crotch area properly. In fact, it is advisable you sew this area twice, sew this inseam twice. So now it's time to fix the band. That is the band. I've interfaced it already. So I'll be adding the band to the front part and to the back part separately. So this is for the back now. So from the side, I went ahead to lose the side a little. So from the side, I'll be sewing it by 1/2 inch that way first. Now that I'm done attaching the band that way, I'll go ahead and use an iron to fold in 1/2 inch. Then I'll fold it that way before completing the band. So when attaching the band to the front piece, at the center, that is at the place where we have the zipper, ensure that you leave 1/2 inch of the band. The reason why I'm doing this, you will get to know as we progress. So you don't want the edge of the band to start with the edge of the front piece. You want to extend it, leave 1/2 inch, just as I'm doing here. So the next thing to do at the front area is to measure the height of the band. So I want mine to be 1.8 inches. I'll measure it that way. Then I will make a notch. I'll make a notch, after which I will flip it over just as I'm doing here. Then I will go ahead and stitch it. So here is the reason why I left the 1/2 inches earlier. So I'll go ahead and stitch it there to have a neat look. Now after stitching, I'll go ahead and trim off the excess that way, then flip it and turn it inside out. So this is the neat look I want to achieve. So I'll go ahead and repeat the same process at the other side of the front. At the other side of the front, I'll go ahead and repeat the same process. So at this point, you want to check if the waistline, if it's match up that way. If it doesn't, then you can quickly adjust it. Now to finish off the band at the front, I would measure out the height of the band, which is 1.8. I'll measure it all the way. Then I'll go ahead and fold 1/2 inch inside like this. Then I would make sure that it is properly placed in such a way that it covers the sewing that was made earlier. Then I'll go ahead and top stitch on it. I'll go ahead and top stitch on it neatly, as close as possible to the line that you can see there. So this is it. This is what you want to have. So I'll go ahead and repeat the same process for the other side as well. Now that the band for the front has been successfully fixed and that of the back as well, it's time to join it at the side. It's time to close off the sides. So making sure that the band joining to the front and to the back, it matches up that way, I'll go ahead and close off the side. And that will be all for today. I hope that you enjoyed this video and found it detailed. Kindly give it a thumbs up, like this video, share it, leave a comment for me, let me know what you think. And you can also connect with me on my Instagram page at @tyke_tyketutorial. And if you are yet to subscribe, please do. Thank you all and see you in my next video. Bye.